Hey, this is Josh with Growlink, and in today's walkthrough we'll be going over how to make a Batch Tank Overfill Protection sensor trigger override within Portal 2.0. You'll start by logging into the web portal and selecting the controllers you want to make this rule on. In this example, we're going to use the example controller here. Once you're at the dashboard for your controller, you'll select the rules page up at the top. Within the rules page, you'll select the rule folder and rule group that you want to make this rule for, followed by clicking the sensor trigger section within the rules dropdown, and then clicking add sensor trigger. In the subsequent form, we're going to fill out the fields one by one. In this case, for the display name, we're going to give it the name of example overfill protection. For the time of day, we're going to set it to be all day because we want this overfill protection to always be active. For sensor, we're going to select our batch tank level sensor like we did in our previous video because we want to make sure that this batch tank does not overfill. Next, for the devices to trigger, we're going to select the batch tank fill valve for our batch tank. Then we're going to specify the values that we want the valve to be forced off and then allowed to be activated. In this case, we're going to select a value of 100% and then put in a deadband of 2%. The activation point in this case would be above the set point. The last piece we need to configure for this sensor trigger override is the override toggle here. When activated, you can see the rule summary sentence change from forcing the batch tank fill valve on to forcing it off. In this case, if the batch tank reads above 102% fill level, it'll turn off the fill valve and will allow it to activate again from other rules when it goes down to 98%. This is important when you have any sort of automation filling your batch tank, as if it exceeds the level at which your tank can hold water, it's important to shut off the fill valve to prevent you from flooding your water room. With this rule configured, all that's left is to add this sensor trigger, hit Update Controller, which will prompt the controller to take a config update. And now, whenever that batch tank level sensor goes above 102%, the associated valve for filling that tank will be forced off so that it won't overfill the tank. This concludes how to make a batch tank overfill protection sensor trigger within Portal 2.0.